What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to JDD TV. I am excited for today's video. We have a new friendly, and we get to talk about an MLS camp, and I'm absolutely pumped for it. I wasn't convinced that it was actually going to happen, so I'm just genuinely pretty excited that it is. And there's a nice little mechanic that we're going to build out the MLS team, or maybe some CPL players as well today. But yeah, I think it's nothing but great news. I think that the fact that TFC isn't playing right now, the Whitecaps aren't playing right now, there needs to be some type of friendly lined up. I was going to do a video on it earlier because I kind of was hoping that Canada would maybe play like the US MLS team, but it didn't end up happening. So we got a different friendly instead. So I'm going to get the app up. I think you guys are going to like this. And then we're going to pick the team together. But yeah, we're playing a country that's 85th in the world, Bahrain. I don't know much about them. I don't think it's a probably overly like competitive match, but it'll probably be a decent test just for this new looking team to come together. But I've always been very curious of what an all Canadian MLS side would look like. And today, with the help of you guys, we're going to build it. And it just perfectly, shout out to Manuel Veith, friend of the channel, member of the Unsackable podcast. Transfermarkt just came out with this pretty cool, I'll show you guys. Give me one sec. So where are you? There you are. So if you guys want to do this yourselves to make your own teams, we're not going to pick the actual Canadian team today, but we are going to make an MLS squad. So it's on Transfermarkt, and you can build your squad. So we're going to build a 26-man MLS camp of, I want to hear what you guys have to say of which players you think will be a part of it, and kind of take a look at, I guess, how it will look. Because I really don't know. I have my starting 11. I tweeted that out for you guys earlier if you're curious. But yeah, I'm excited. So hopefully you guys are as well. We'll get into some comments before we get picking away. But here we go. Love having an MLS camp. I do too. I mean, let's hope. I mean, whether you're a TFC fan or not, you can hope they go to the finals and then lose. But if you're not a TFC fan, hope Montreal can go on and win, because that will keep 5 pretty important CF Montreal players in shape and playing competitive playoff action leading up to the World Cup. And for the Whitecaps players, for the TFC players, this camp is crucial. And I'm so excited they're able to get it done, get the boys together, play in opposition, which will hopefully, give them a bit of a competitive match. But yeah, there's an easy solution, guys. If you're a TFC fan, hope CF Montreal make it all the way to the finals and then fall short. So that way they get to play all the games possible, but they get the heartbreak in the end. It's very simple, but you'll keep Kone, you'll keep Piet, you'll keep Johnston, Miller, and Waterman playing in playoff football. I mean, that's exactly what you want leading up to a World Cup. So there you go. Easy answer for everybody. Luke says, let's go. Good, need something to keep somewhat game shape. I agree. I'm really excited to see what this is going to look like. And I believe it comes out with a picture at the end. So you guys are going to have some fun. But I want to get through some comments first before we start building this team. If you're just stopping by, guys, be sure to drop a like. Say hello in the chat. I believe we might be doing another stream tomorrow. I believe the preliminary 55-man roster is due to FIFA tomorrow. That's what I've been hearing and reading. So if it is, we'll do another stream to kind of take a look at that. But for right now, we're building a 26-man MLS or CPL type roster. So we'll take a look. Josh sporting a new look. Yeah. Cut off the hair. Wanted to look a little more professional come the World Cup time. I've had shaggy hair for a while, so we'll have to take a look. But Josh got his hair. In theory, the US and Canada should schedule friendly even after. I thought that would make a lot of sense. Like, how perfect would that be? Canada, they help each other out. The MLS is ending. There's a lot of players that will be representing the US as well as Canada that are now out of football. Why not schedule even a couple friendlies, but even one now? I believe the US are playing the U20s, and we're now playing Bahrain. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, I hope I am. I Googled it beforehand. But yeah, if you can even set up another match between the US and Canada would be absolutely perfect. Chris is here. I bet you he's excited for this. Akinola, Larea, Henry, McDonald, Osorio. Yeah, I'm thinking so. We'll get into that very soon. I'm excited to see how this new mechanic works. I took a little look at it, but if you guys want to do it yourselves and tweet me at on Twitter if you don't follow us. I don't know where the Twitter is, but it's somewhere. It's in the description. Because I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. And yeah, and I have question marks. Like, would you guys include? Actually, I think Tybert's injured. But like, I was wondering if you guys would include players like Russell Tybert. I mean, he's a good MLS player. He hasn't been in the national team for a very long time. But I hope Montreal would win from Montreal here. Yeah, I hope Montreal goes on and win as well. But I know a lot of TFC fans don't want that. But like I said, it's an easy solution. Just have them have heartbreak in the finals. There you go. They play all the games mandatory, but it would be so important for those 5 CF Montreal players to play all the way up to MLS Cup. Intense playoff action, keeping them game shape leading into a knockout tournament. It's what you want. Like I said, you don't have to hope Montreal wins, but hope that they then get heartbreak if you are a TFC fan. But it would be so important for those players to get those type of reps before the World Cup. But what are you guys thinking? You want to get right into it now? Jackson says hi in the chat. Afghans FC says hi, Josh. How you doing, my man? Hard to include players still in MLS. We're gonna do today's just under the assumption that we can. Now, if CF Montreal goes all the way to the finals, that final I believe is on November 5th. This game is on November 11th, so probably won't be there. But they could lose next game. We don't know. So just for the fun of it, I mean, we can discuss after. But we're gonna build it with all MLS players available. So that's what I think we're going to do. And it'll make the most sense. And we'll get a good look at what a Canadian MLS side would actually look like. And maybe how it even stack up against the US, who obviously have a ton of players in that league. Just jumped right in. Chris is excited for it. It's good to see. TFC fan, and I want Montreal to win. There you go. It's a sticky situation. I mean, I totally understand. But like I said, like you could, if I was like a big TFC fan, I would hope that CF Montreal went to the finals and then got their hearts broke. Because for the good of your nation, your players are getting invaluable reps up to the World Cup, and then see if Montreal doesn't win. Come on, easy solution. Big brain there. Atletico Ottawa. I got a nice Atletico Ottawa hat in the back there. You see it? It's who I'm cheering for in the playoffs. Just hoping for. I think that a good season and hoping that they can do it. But I don't know if that's just me. Too many Canadians, but all right. You guys want to do this? Atletico final. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So this is courtesy of Transfermarkt. Manuel sent it to me literally after I scheduled the stream, so it works out perfectly. So in the chat now, guys, give me 3 keepers out of Major League Soccer who you think John Herdman would bring. And I want you guys to really think about John Herdman. Think about players who could be a part of this camp, but are actually options that you think he would give them. Like, I have a lot of trouble imagining he's going to call in any CPL players over MLS players. That's just my personal opinion. But if you give me a CPL player, if you give me like an outside reason, give me like a reasoning for it. But I think it's pretty simple. It's Crépeau, it's St. Clair, and I'm going with Pantemis. I mean, Hassal's in there. I mean, I don't know if there's any other options really, but those are the 3 I'm going with. Yeah, let me know if anyone disagrees. There it is. Those are the 3 keepers I would go with this camp. I mean, Crépeau and St. Clair will be going to the World Cup. Pantemis has been a part of the national team. He's obviously struggled to get in with the 3 keepers because of Borjan, but more than likely, it kind of looks like we're all probably on the same page. But I'm curious because I put up a tweet earlier of my starting 11, which I really like. I think it includes a lot of players that will have important reps, I think, for the Canadian men's national team. But a lot of you guys had an issue with me putting Crépeau above St. Clair. Now, I think on form, ability, and probably the future number 1, I think it's all looking at St. Clair. But I was looking at it from Herdman's perspective. If Borjan went down, in my eyes, and let me know if you guys disagree, I don't think there'd be any doubt that Crépeau would start. That's my opinion. I think St. Clair has probably earned a starting role, but I think if push comes to shove, there's an opportunity to start a keeper, Borjan, or if Borjan's out, I think Crépeau is the guy for Herdman. But yeah, not really debatable. So we'll make that easy. So let's take a look at how this this fancy new thing works. Give me one sec here. All right, getting out of you, getting out of you. All right, so we're gonna select the keepers. So we're on the keepers right now, so you can load more players like you guys kind of saw here, but I mean, there's only a certain amount. So I'm going St. Clair. I mean, Borjan's not available. Or Crepeau, Borjan's not available. St. Clair and James Pantemis right there. So now we move on to defenders. So we got 3 of our 26 picked. So, I mean, I can always unselect them too. So I'm going to go through the defenders of who I believe will probably be a part of this. Give me some defenders as well, guys. And yeah, if you're dropping by, be sure to like. If you haven't subscribed at all, always appreciated. But why can't you guys? Why can't you find a decent opponent? Please don't tell me that Uruguay is decent. Uruguay is a decent opponent, man. They are, but I don't believe that they were the friendlies that Canada really should have lined up. Instead of Qatar, Uruguay, and Japan, in all honesty, it should have been an African side, probably Algeria or Egypt, and it should have been 2 European nations, maybe Poland, Serbia. Like that's in hindsight, that's what should have happened. I don't know where that comment is, kind of random, but regardless, this new friendly against Bahrain, again, someone correct me if I'm not saying it right. Bahrain is for players that are out of season. So mainly MLS focused players, maybe the CPL, but let's go through it right now. Leave your guys' defenders in the comments if you want to go outside the box, but I'm going to pick mine right now and we can always unselect. So Alistair Johnston will be there. I mean, again, if CF Montreal are out, Kamal Miller, Richie Larea, Joel Waterman, Daniel Henry will obviously be there. Edwards will be there. Again, Edwards could go on to win MLS Cup. We don't know, but again, just assuming that he could be there. I'm assuming McNaughton would get a call up. ZBG would be there. It's an interesting one. Shaquille Marshall-Ruddy, what do you guys think? I'm going to go yes. Now, Christian Gutierrez, I believe, is injured. Does anybody have any other information on that? Any Whitecaps fans? Gutierrez would not be available, would he? He hasn't played a match in a very long time. But let me know in the chat quickly what you guys think. I don't think Gutierrez is fit. I believe his last match. So yeah, is injured and not in favor. So like I say, I swear I looked like a couple weeks ago at his last match, and I want to say it's months ago. So we won't include Gutierrez just because the uncertainty. What about Luca Petrasso? Farsi's an interesting one. Amir Didic has got experience. Caden Chung. There are some options here. I think we can all agree that Coutinho's probably not going to get called back in. I thought the defenders would have been easier than I thought. Let's see, who do we got right now? So we got Alistair Johnston, Kamal Miller, Richie Larea, Waterman, Henry, Edwards, McNaughton, ZBG, and Shaquille Marshall-Ruddy. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Farsi, but I don't think he played enough at the MLS level to probably warrant a call. I think he's one for the future, and I think he's looked really, really good at times with the crew too. But I think like someone like, for example, I mean, I know they're different positions, but like we already have at right back, really, we have Larea, we have Johnston, and we got ZBG. I don't know. That's tricky. Let's see what Chris is saying. Larea, Johnston, Edwards, McNaughton, Henry, Waterman, Miller, ZBG, and Shaquille Marshall-Ruddy. Yeah, that's basically what we have so far. Left back options. We have Edwards. I mean, Larea can always shift over to the left-hand side if need be, because we have, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think if you take ZBG, you don't need Petrasso. If you have Edwards and then Richie, you can cover the left. We're on the same wavelength, my friends. But we can go back. We can go back. It's hard. I haven't done this before, so we can go back. But I think for right now, we're going to go with those players. So we're at 12 out of 26. And now let's move on to midfielders and forwards, which they aren't separated, so that'll make this a little bit more difficult. But we got 14 more players to choose. So I'm just going to scroll through them and let me know if I'm missing anyone or anyone you guys think we should include. So off the bat, Ismail Kone, Mark Anthony K. I would take Akinola. There's not a lot of strikers. The only there's Akindele, Akinola, Cavallini. I don't think Akindele comes near this national team anymore. So it only really leaves us with 2 strikers. But Akinola's there. Azorio, obviously, if he's fit. Cavallini, Piet, Schaffelberg. What are we at now? So that already took us to 19. So Jay Nelson, probably, I would assume. I'm going to leave Akindele out unless you guys are really wanting it. I'm going to leave Tyler Pasher out. He doesn't even have a club. I would bring both Raposo, Chouanier, maybe Prizzo. I don't know. What are we at? Or what do you guys think? One of the 2 here, Akello or Prizzo, or Baldissimo, who just got. Let's see. What are we at? So we're at 22. So let's go to the chat for a little bit more. We need a few more players. So maybe both of them will do. It's kind of hard to see who we got, but now we're starting to get into the CPL players a little bit. But no more players will load. Kosi Thompson, does he deserve a shout? See what you guys are saying here. Julian Dunn, yeah, Dunn's been out for a while. I think you take Russell Rowe. Man, it's not a bad idea because he would be another forward up front. Because like I said, right now there's only 2. Do you take a 17-year-old? I mean, this camp doesn't mean anything in terms of giving him an opportunity to make the World Cup, but it could get him involved with some of the other national teams, players, and I don't know, young D-Row. You take Akindele before Prizzo or Akello. Interesting. Manny. I feel like we should sneak in 1 CPL player. But what about Russell Tybert? Well, again, I think he's injured, so we're gonna leave him out, but I don't know if he'd even get a look. But we still have, we're at 22 right now. We still have some more room. I mean, yeah, I guess because Akindele was brought up in the Gold Cup. I mean, he's not playing for Orlando. He's 30. He doesn't, in my opinion, offer anything. I'd much rather see Russell Rowe or even young D-Rowe. I'd rather see almost any other striker involved just to see what they would be like with the national team as opposed to Akindele. But I could see a Herdman bringing him in. I don't know. Put a yes or no right now in the chat, guys, on Akindele, because I am torn on him. Yes or no, and then depending what you guys are saying, maybe. But I put Jaden Nelson in. I put Chouanier. I put Raposo. I'm going to put Okello and Prizzo right now, which takes us to 24. Now there's Kosi Thompson there, but again, we have a ton of fullbacks. Akindele or Russell Rowe, I'm debating. So you guys are all saying no to Akindele. Russell Rowe, all right. I like that. I like the idea. Let's see if there's anybody else here that I'm missing. And then you guys are saying Manny. We don't have really like an out-and-out cam. But I'll throw in Russell Rowe. Why not? So that brings us to 25 guys. So I think it's fair. Like Jay Nelson, a winger. We got Chouanier who can play multiple positions. Raposo can play at left wing back. Obviously, we got 2 more CDMs that we've brought in. We've got that third striker that I was looking for. So we have 1 more player. So in the chat, guys, I guess we can pick our CPL player. Do you guys think Manny's the guy to go with? Maybe Sean Ray. I mean, we have wingers. Kind of like the idea of going with Manny. Or Bustos, maybe. Manny or Marco. Let's go back over to the chat. But you guys were very, very together on no to Akindele. The next generation. Karifa Yao would be a nice little addition there. Rubens Pasillas, a couple of you guys were messaging me on Twitter that he'd be one. Akindele did play under Herman, and I agree. I would lean more towards him getting a call over like a Russell Rowe or a Pasillas. Like I don't see Rubens really having any chance, but I don't know. That's just my gut. Like I'm looking at it from like Herbin's perspective. I feel like he would go with seasoned veterans because he wants, I guess, I don't know, just for like I don't know how many players he's gonna bring. This is just an automatic 26. I think you take D-Row since he has a U.S. passport and he could be moving to Major League Soccer next season. You guys are making it difficult. Go for the fourth forward instead of Manny. Bustos, you guys want to go with young D-Row? Akello is without a club, but I mean, again, and that's like the other, and I mean, so is Baldissimo, but like some of the other difficult things around this is like it's just a camp. Like a lot of these players are nowhere near going to Qatar. They're probably just trying to round out this camp to provide, decent training sessions. Like I built the starting 11. I can bring it. I can tell you guys it quickly right now. The starting 11 in my eyes would be the 3-4-2-1. Crepeau and net for me could be St. Clair. Right wing back is Larea. Outside right center back is Alistair Johnston. Central center back is Waterman. Outside left center back is Miller. Left wing back is Edwards. The two center mids would be Kay and Piet. The two cams, like the dual kind of 10s, would be Azorio and Kone. And the one striker would be Cavallini. I created that starting 11 because, like I said, like whether you want Cavallini starting up top or not, he will be in Qatar. He will have probably some minutes off the bench. I don't think Akinola is going. I don't think like Russell Rowe or obviously like young D-Row will be going. And like players like Akello, yes, he doesn't have a club right now, but Daniel Henry doesn't have a club right now. Doesn't mean they can't come to camp to fill out the numbers. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm really, really curious to see what that camp will look like. But yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. But like, there's a few TFC players that were released that aren't without clubs. Henry's obviously without a club as well, but we know, and that starting 11 could easily include Henry. You could kick out Edwards, move Larea to left wing back, have Johnston at right wing back. Outside right center back could be Joel Waterman, and central center back would be Daniel Henry. But I went with my preferred option. I think since this camp will have guys who won't be at the World Cup, the eyes will be on the future, which is why someone like Akindele won't be there compared to Russell Rowe or D-Row. It's a fair debate. Like I totally agree, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, like Akindele has been a part of the national team. He knows the training sessions. He's an experienced player. Maybe he's going to be there to, I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I think we have our 26. I think we're going with young D-Row. Is that kind of what we're thinking here? There's also Balutaba can sneak in there. And Manny, I was close to putting Manny or Bustos, but it doesn't matter. We'll go with, like, I don't think Baldissimo would get called up. What about DeAndre Kerr? Do we include him over anybody? I think he's an interesting one. Can play a couple different positions. It's a tough one. All right. Give me some opinions quickly on Kerr, and then I'm gonna make the final decision because I could just leave young D-Row out, and then I could just go DeAndre Kerr, which I think would probably make more sense. And now we're at our 26. And we have Russell Rowe as the young one. Bring some players for the future. No point bringing veterans who have no chance of making the World Cup squad. Yeah, like again, I totally understand that point. No to Kerr. Bring D-Row. There's rumors from Vancouver fans that Baldissimo's long-term ankle injury isn't really improving. Yeah, it's a shame. I really, really like Michael Baldissimo. He was so technically gifted. He looked like one of those players who was going to just be a lock-on starter for the Caps, and just a shame, man. Just a shame that I'm curious to see where he goes next. I have a feeling probably like CPL. I could see the Baldissimo brothers going to the new Vancouver team, but there's only one lifetime achievement award, and that's Atiba's. Everyone else in the camp, you have to have one eye towards the future. All right. Well, you guys said no to DeAndre Kerr, so I will put little D-Row back in there. That gives us 4 strikers. D-Row, Russell Rowe, Akinola, and Cavallini, and that brings us to 26. Are we in agreement? If so, give me a 1 or 2 thumbs up, or give your guys a shout for your final players. Otherwise, I'm going to see what happens now that when we save it, because I think it gives out a nice little picture. Josh, assistant manager. I would be honored. I'd jump through a wall for John Herman. Anybody else watching the documentary? If you haven't, go to Canada Soccer's YouTube channel. They've released the first 2 episodes. It's excellent. Bear is no players can be included that are part of a club season right now that's underway. So like Theo Bear's playing with St. John's, so even Atiba, I mean, unless there's some special circumstance, like he won't be released. He's getting back to fitness. He's playing with Besiktas, so he won't be available. I don't know what that was. It has to be basically just MLS players, or CPL players. And the other things worth noting is, like I said, like the CF Montreal guys and Edwards could maybe go to the final and would maybe shake this up. But all right, let's hit the save button. Let's see if I think it pumps out a pretty nice little picture here. Oh my, what are you doing? Come on, Manuel. No, that's disappointing. Maybe I waited too long to do it. I'll see if I can remember it off the top of my head. I'll try one more time. But he shared a nice little picture, so I'm pretty sure I wanted to see a reward here. Let's see if I can just do it kind of quickly. All right, you went Alistair, Kamal, Richie, Joel, Daniel, Edwards, McNaughton, the 2 wingbacks. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Schaffelberg's a sneaky shout. I went with Chouanier, who I'd like to see. Shaquille. And you guys were begging for D-Row. Am I at 26? I am. Come on. Yeah. There we go. Look at that. That's beautiful. All right. How do you save this? But there it is, guys. So let's take a nice little overview here of our team. All right. So that's the final team with the help of you guys. So the keepers we went with was Crépeau, St. Clair, and Pantemis. Defenders is Johnston, Miller, Larea, Waterman, Henry, Edwards, McNaughton, ZBG, and Marshall Ruddy. Midfielders and forwards, I wish it did it in the proper order, but Kone, K, Akinola, Azorio, Cavallini, Piet, Schaffelberg, Nelson, Chouanier, Raposo, Priso, Akel. And the last 3 are honestly the 3 that I think could be up for debate. Like Akello may not get brought in because he's got no club. I don't know. Russell Rowe and Young D-Row, and he may not bring 26, but I think we did a pretty good job. I don't know how to share this though. I'm actually going to screenshot it because I don't really want to include the World Cup. I'm just going to include, and then I can just say like, hey, this is what we came up with today. I like it. But yeah, I'm excited. I would be really intrigued to see some of these names coming on here. Like you guys mentioned, the younger players, like, I don't know, the incredible season that Russell Rowe had and D-Row. It'd be pretty cool to see, but no, producer T's here. He said, right click and save images. I was going to do that, but like, I don't really want like the world, like it's my World Cup squad. So I'm just going to hide that because this is the MLS one, I guess. But yeah, that's not too bad. But if Montreal make it deep into playoffs, they could not be going. Yep, that's totally correct. Now, this is a 26-man list we came up with here, which was fun because even if the 5 CF Montreal players go deep in, that would still be a 21-man squad. And then just imagine some of the bubble players that could potentially be brought in. So I'm not really sure how it'll shape up, but I think we did. I think we did pretty good. And yeah, there's our feedback from Manuel. You got to separate the midfielders and the forwards. But um, right, I'm gonna put it on Twitter, guys, because I think I'm pretty satisfied with the team we put together here. All right, so here's the 26-man name squad. Mark. Well done, friends. Well done. All right. Yeah, for me, honestly, I'm just glad that this camp's happening. The US has been kind of rumoring this around for a while. Theirs is going to be underway, I think, this coming week. Last I heard, like talking to Filippo, I don't know if it's actually happening or when it's happening, but I know that they're playing the U20 team. Was really hoping Canada could do something like this, and honestly, they found a decent friendly. Get the guys together, get them fit. This is perfect, absolutely perfect. I think the only thing that would make it better if they could somehow slide in a friendly against the US's MLS side. I think that would be nice. 2 friendlies in there. But again, a lot of these players could still, I guess, be playing. Like especially the CF Montreal players go deep. Like I don't know. It's tricky because obviously like the Whitecaps players and the TFC players, their seasons ended already for a few weeks. So this is important getting them back. And like players like Azorio, K, like those guys could play some significant minutes at the World Cup. And I mean, K's already out of form. Azorio's got the injury. So getting them back, getting them playing could be so important. Just trying to get them back into that match fitness. My main hope is that Azorio gets well. David's interview on Sky Sports had him saying that Azorio is the cleverest player on the team. I think he's the closest thing to like a number 10 that we have, even though I still think he's like that hybrid 8 to 10. But yeah, Azorio has got incredible vision. If I was going to play like a 4-2-3-1 system with Canada, my 10 would be Azorio. And I use him as an example. When I talked about Davies playing as like the 10, yes, Davies can make himself look incredible because he's an incredible player, but I think that there's specific passes that he will overthink or won't see because he's just not a number 10. He's not that type of player. Where I think someone like Azorio and a couple of those passes in Uruguay, I think he would have picked them out. I think he would have saw them. He would have expected them. He's used to playing there. But yeah, I agree. I'd say Azorio is probably one of the cleverest players on the team, and he'd be an important player. So hopefully his head injury can fully heal. He can be good to go because it'd be pretty disappointing if he's not able to be at the World Cup fully fit. Saudi Arabia has like 10 games. Yeah, it's because they like every player on Saudi Arabia, I believe, plays in the Saudi Arabian League. So they can just set up friendlies. I think they're playing like club teams as well. Like it's hilarious how much preparation. I think Qatar is a little similar because again, all the Qatari players play in the Qatari League. So they're having a ton of friendlies. I like that we lined up the Japan match. I obviously would have went with the European nation, but is what it is. But I really like that we were able to pull off this MLS camp. I think that's super important. I was skeptical to see if it would actually happen. I did think of that maybe like, CPL All-Star game, All-Star team, I guess, but I don't know how difficult that could have been to actually put together. But this makes more sense. Find another nation that would be up for it and get it done. So that is it, guys. The news is good. Canada will be playing Bahrain. Again, still hoping I'm saying it correctly. And we'll see some type of team like that. But before we go, let me know your guys' starting 11. I'll go over my starting 11 quickly and give you kind of reasons. And then you guys just put it in the chat. But if you're looking for a starting 11 from these players here, it has to be players that will play in somewhat of a similar system to how Canada is going to feature. And it also has to be players that will obviously feature at the World Cup. So I had a debate of whether I wanted to squeeze Daniel Henry or Edwards. And probably Edwards doesn't make the most sense. And he's the player I went with. I think in all honesty, if one of the two is going to feature at the World Cup, it's going to be Daniel Henry. So I'm going to kind of reshift my starting 11 to tell you, coming from Herdman's perspective, this is my best guess of what a starting 11 would look like. I still think it would be the 3 3-4-2-1 because we have a lack of strikers. Akinola won't touch the pitch. He probably won't make the World Cup squad. It's really only Cavallini, so play the one striker system. We've been doing that before. We have a ton of midfielders in this core, a lot of important ones that will be a part of the national team. Like I said, Henry will probably play a role, or at least more of a chance to play a role than Edwards. So looking at that 3-4-2-1, I mean, pick your pick. I'll go Crepeau because I think that's what Herdman would do, would be in goal. Right wing back would be Alistair Johnson. This is where I'm debating because Alistair Johnson doesn't usually feature there for the national team. He's basically mostly played there for CF Montreal, so maybe this is an opportunity for Herdman to see what he could do there. But if that wasn't the case, like I said, we just kind of shifted around so Richie plays there. But Alistair Johnson at right wing back, Joel Waterman at outside right center back, Daniel Henry at central center back, and Miller at outside left center back. That would then mean Richie has to switch over to left wing back. And then there's your back three, which Canada can play with, your two wing backs. Your two center mids will be Kay and Piet, who both have good opportunities to feature at the World Cup. And then I squeeze in two more midfielders. It's kind of like those dual 10s. I mean, one would be Jonathan Osorio, and then one would be Ismail Kone, who has proven that he can play further up the pitch. I think those two together would be a lot of fun. And then you have your main man up front. You got Cavallini. So that's a starting 11. I would look at trying to see which of those players would have an impact at the World Cup. And I think there's a fair shout that you could see all of them play a little bit at the World Cup, except for probably Crepeau, because Borjan more than likely will start. But yeah, that is what I'm thinking, guys. So that is the stream for today. I think tomorrow the 55-man preliminary Canada squad is due to FIFA. If it is, we'll come back on here for a stream and we'll break it down. I think that'll be fun to see what names will be on there, which ones won't. It would probably, that 55-man list would probably help trying to decide if like an Akindele or a D-Row would be more of an opportunity for here. So keep an eye on that. If it is released tomorrow, come join me for another live, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to tweet out that picture. So if you guys do disagree or want to change anything, go over to Twitter at TV_JJD and let us know if you had any different thoughts. But the final comment of the day goes to the starting 11 to get a different one. Schaffelberg's a good shout as well. Got Crepeau, Johnston, Miller, Waterman, and Richie, a back four. I like it. Kone, Osorio, two midfields. Or you got Schaffelberg in the midfield as well. Akinola, Cavallini, and D-Row. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one, but all right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all tuning in. Be sure to drop a like on your way out. Drop a sub if you're new to the channel. And yeah, we will see you soon. Cheers, friends.